Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast, almost Christmas edition. If you hear background noise, in particular a generator and some hammering and stuff, it's because my neighbors are having their roof reshingled today. And if I were normally filming down in the man cave, you probably wouldn't hear that. But because it's the Christmas podcast, I kind of wanted a little bit of the Christmas scenery here. So hopefully you do not find it as a distraction. I want to start this podcast by congratulating John Alling, who was the winner of the Keto Chow Christmas prize package giveaway thing that I did. His was the name that was picked by the random comment picker for YouTube. So congratulations. There was about 1,000 people that left comments in just a 24-hour period. So I'm pretty impressed at the overall engagement. And you can rest assured that I will continue to be doing giveaways in the new year. I will be doing ones for the general population, but also I will continue to do ones that are specific to my paid channel members. It's sort of an extra little perk for my channel members. I can't list it though. I talked to YouTube about this. I can't list that as a perk for channel membership because then I think it's considered like gambling or something because you're paying for an opportunity to win. So I can still talk about it on videos, I was told by my liaison at YouTube. So that's just one of the things that I offer, just one little thing to sort of sweeten the pot, if you will, for my people that really support this channel through paid memberships. I also plan on doing the biggest giveaway in the history of this channel when I hit 250,000 subscribers. And I had really hoped that I would hit it by December because it was in December that I was notified 5 years ago from GE that I was going to be laid off. And I just thought it would be kind of a poignant sort of thing to announce, 5 years ago today, I was called into HR to be told that my services would no longer be required. Now here I am with 250,000 viewers. The timing didn't exactly work out, but my official last day at GE would be January 26th, I think. 5 years ago. So there's still a chance. There is still a chance that I could hit 250,000 by then. Maybe we'll get that influx of new keto people at the beginning of the year and that will push me over the edge. You can also help, and I know a lot of you do, by recommending my channel to other people, by sharing it on social media and things like that. And I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much. This morning, Terry and I had a little date. You know, when you're married for 26 years, just running errands kind of feels like a date sometimes. I mean, we're able to spend time together, walk around, hold hands, and we went to Costco. There were really only two things we needed at Costco, or wanted to get at Costco. One was a lantern for my mother-in-law. That's Terry wanted to buy that. And then I needed more heavy whipping cream. They had neither. And it's kind of troubling to me now that Costco very often seems to be out of heavy whipping cream. In fact, they were out of eggs as well. Now, I know that there was some sort of avian flu or something going on that's affecting eggs, but I tell you, keto's getting a little bit harder to do, it seems like, over the last year or so, between certain product shortages and just prices going up. Kind of a bummer. I'm going to have to see if I can come up with some more clever and creative recipes next year that maybe rely on more readily available proteins and less expensive proteins. But I don't know if you've noticed this as well at the Costco's in your part of the country. If you shop Costco, let me know down in the comments. Are you seeing shortages on things like eggs and heavy whipping cream? Let me know down in the comments below. It seems like every podcast, almost, I need to return to a previous topic and either re-explain it or explain it better or clarify or something like that. I feel like the thoughts in my head are coming out of my mouth in an understandable way, but maybe I'm wrong. And the particular instance from last week was a number of people thought that I intended to turn off comments to all of my videos. And I do not. I never plan on turning off comments to all of my videos. It just, to me, that's the interaction that we have in the comments is part of what makes this a community. And by that, I mean your interaction with me and your interaction with one another. It feels good to be able to leave a comment and to have a voice. So I will not be turning off comments. What I was suggesting I might do is turn off comments on a few specific videos, because there are some, like my apple cider vinegar versus GERD video and the resistant starch videos that I've done, where I feel like any comment that could be left, either asking a question or making a demand or insulting me, they've already been made. And it's just sort of it's a little bit redundant, I think, at this point. There's probably nothing that could be asked for in any of the resistant starch experiments that I've done that hasn't already been asked. Routinely, every single day, I'll get questions asked on the apple cider vinegar videos that I've answered hundreds of times already. And you wouldn't have to scroll very far in the comments to get the answer, or you could watch the 1-year follow-up video and get the answer. So for some of those, if a video is a certain age, a few years old, something like that, I don't know, maybe I'll turn off comments. I probably won't, just because I kind of like keeping it entirely open. But anyhow, that was the clarification I wanted to make. I do not intend to turn off comments to my videos on the whole, and probably not even individual videos, the more I think about it. I've talked a little bit, probably more than some of you are interested in, about my tattoos on the podcast. And I can say that finally this one here, the fix, looks pretty good. I'll put a close-up over here. But it had been spelled accidentally illegitimati non-carborundum, and it should be illegitimi non-carborundum. And I got the Boba Fett helmet in there, kind of over the T, and my tattoo guy did a really, really spectacular job. It looks a little bit rough, though. I scabbed up just horribly from this particular tattoo, and it seemed like some of the ink maybe didn't take quite as well, so I'm probably going to have him recolor that a little bit the next time I see him. And speaking of tattoos, this is not the smoothest segue in the world, but speaking of tattoos, Courtney will be home Wednesday. So for most of you, for the general public, you'll be seeing this podcast on a Wednesday. So later today, Courtney will be home. For my channel members, my paid channel members, you're seeing this on Tuesday, the same day that I'm recording it. And I'm really excited about that. You know, Courtney moved, she was out on the west side of the state. She has moved now to about half an hour away. She's probably a shorter drive away than Connor and Jaden and Colton are in their house. But it's still, there's something special whenever she's here with us. And it feels like she's come home from school, I guess, because in a way she has. But even though school now for her is a half hour away instead of 3 hours away, she'll be here probably close to a week. So I'm hoping we have a chance to do some review videos together, maybe some cooking videos together. I don't think she's ever been in an actual cooking video. I think it's pretty much been all review videos. So I'm really excited about that. Or if nothing else, just spending some time. We love playing games as a family. Board games, video games, card games, etc. So to me, the biggest Christmas present that I could have is just my family together. So I'm thrilled to have Courtney back for even a handful of days. And I know a number of you are big Courtney fans as well. So good news, you'll probably see at least one, if not two videos within the next few weeks featuring Courtney. It's been a little while since I've done keto in the news, and it's not always news. Sometimes it's just what shows up in my Google News feed. And unfortunately, whenever anything keto pops up in my Google News feed, I read it. And very often it's anti-keto stuff, just in disguise as keto stuff. And as a result, I keep getting more and more anti-keto stuff. And I'm going to share with you, let's open up Google here. Where are you? Here we go. The article is actually entitled, How to Keep the Weight Off After the Keto Diet. So you would think then it would be sort of you've been doing keto, like strict keto, and you're satisfied with where your weight is, and now you're moving into a maintenance phase. That was my interpretation of reading the initial headline. Once I actually get into the article, though, and I'm going to put on my glasses for this, the article is How to Maintain Your Health and Weight Loss Results After the Keto Diet. Many experts say the high-fat diet shouldn't be followed forever. What happens when you stop keto? Follow our guide to making the transition. And then as I read this article from Everyday Health, it really seems to be less about how to maintain what you've achieved in keto and more just sort of the typical keto trash talk. So very first sentence talks about how restrictive it is. that you can't have oatmeal, potatoes, apples, carrots, breads, rice, desserts, pasta, etc. Then it moves on. You always have the dietitian that steps in saying that you should not follow keto for probably longer than 6 months. Long-term research is limited. So because, again, you see this in every article, the long-term impact of keto has not been studied. And I disagree with that because keto has been around for over 100 years. We know the impact of keto. There are people like Halle Berry who've been doing keto for 30 years. So there are some data points out there. And we absolutely know what the long-term impact of the standard American diet has been because take a look at the last 50 years and the rise in obesity and type 2 diabetes and other diseases related to metabolic syndrome. Then it goes on to give a laundry list of all the things you can't eat on keto. I feel like this is a scare tactic because there are so many legitimate substitutes for all of the things that we can't eat on keto. But it talks about how long-term ketogenic diets can result in nutritional deficiencies, especially fiber, which I find very amusing in that if we're going to eat vegetables, and I do, probably more vegetables than I did pre-keto, I'm going to focus on those things that are high fiber, the cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli and cauliflower, and I think most of us are that way. So I'm fairly certain I'm getting more fiber than I did pre-keto. Now, I'll give this article credit because after doing some of the bad mouthing of keto and talking about why you shouldn't do it and how it's so restrictive and all of this stuff, it does actually talk about some of the things that you can add back into your diet after you've reached your desired state of weight. Strawberries, carrots, black bean soup, that's interesting. Edamame, I know there's a lot of anti-soy people out there who would say no on that. Kiwi, interesting. It says one vitamin C packed kiwi contains just 10.5 grams of carbohydrates. Boy, that still seems a little bit high to me. Butternut squash, watermelon, lentils, oatmeal, sweet potatoes. I don't know, some of those kind of make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I do think that perhaps adding legumes back into your diet, just because they are sort of high fiber, that's a possibility. I myself have not done it. I don't know. Well, I was at the Keto Chow meetup last month. Yeah, last month. That was one of the questions that I got from one of the people in attendance was, what do you do to sustain once you've hit your desired weight level? And I've been sort of in maintenance mode for over 3 years now. There's been some weight fluctuations up and down. Sometimes I get a little bit too liberal, I think, with my carbs, but I haven't been out of ketosis, so, with a few exceptions. So my advice to him was, if you enjoy the way you're eating currently on keto, and you don't find it restrictive, just eat a little bit more of it. Maybe up your protein a bit. But if you're satisfied with this way of eating, and I am, I don't really see the need to go and start tampering with it. But I'd be curious to know, if any of you have hit your weight loss goals and are in maintenance phase for keto, what additions did you make, if any, or modifications to your ketogenic lifestyle? Let me know down in the comments below. As I close out this podcast, I just want to talk a little bit about Christmas presents because, as I said, to me, the biggest present is just having my family together, but that didn't keep me from putting a few things on my Christmas list, some kitchen gadgets, including this kebab maker, where you put the ground meat and seasonings or whatever in this tube, and then you stick your skewer into this hole on top. I'm probably not describing this all that well. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it up right here. But then you press the meat through and it feeds the kebab stick, the skewer, through, and you basically have a tube of meat around your stick, and then you grill it, bake it, whatever. So that could be a gadget I experiment with and review, and it could wind up in some future videos if I recommend it as a product. But I think that's mainly the only kitchen thing I asked for, because anything else I want either is way too expensive or I just don't have room for. I am trying to convince Joe from Two Crazy Ketos to get the Polyscience, Control Freak. It is the just the most badass induction cooktop ever. And it's normally like $1,500, $1,600, but it's on sale on Amazon right now for $9.99. And I'm trying to get Joe to get one, and he could be my guinea pig and let me know, oh yeah, this is totally great. You should absolutely get it. This is not earning me any points with Rachel. I can tell you that. Joe said that Rachel now is referring to me as that bad influence, Steve, which it would not be the first time I've been called that. I think the wife of every friend of mine has referred to me as a bad influence. So, not new. And I suppose if Rachel were in charge of giving me a Christmas present now, it would probably be a lump of coal. But I'd be curious to know, are any of you asking for any special Christmas kitchen gadgets or tools or anything like that that you might be using to cook? Let me know down in the comments below. So I give you 3 potential opportunities to leave some comments. Obviously, this goes back to the original thing I talked about earlier in the podcast. I wouldn't want to turn off comments because I love reading this stuff. But that is going to be it for this podcast. I wish you all a Merry Christmas or whatever holidays you're celebrating this time of year. As always, thank you for listening. Boy, that didn't come out smoothly. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching.